For most people, the INFJ door slam feels sudden, like it came out of nowhere. But for the INFJ, it's the end of a very long emotional process, a process that often begins years before the door actually closes. There is a moment many INFJs recognize, even if we don't have words for it. A moment when something quietly closes inside. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but decisively. And it doesn't arrive with anger. It arrives with exhaustion. If you've ever wondered whether the INFJ door slam means you're cold, or broken, or incapable of healthy connection, I want you to stay with me. Because what's actually happening has very little to do with indifference, and a lot to do with emotional exhaustion that most people never see. In a moment, we're going to talk about what's happening before the door closes, the part almost no one talks about. The INFJ door slam is often misunderstood. It's described as revenge, or manipulation, or emotional coldness. But from the inside, it rarely feels like any of those things. It isn't impulsive, it isn't sudden, and it isn't about punishing someone else. For most INFJs, the door slam is the end point of accumulation, a long process of staying, adjusting, empathizing, and absorbing, often without enough release. INFJs tend to process emotions deeply and internally. We don't discharge stress quickly. We absorb it. Most INFJs I've spoken to recognize this moment instantly, but rarely talk about it out loud. Before the door closes, there is usually a long period of inner tension. We question ourselves. We minimize our discomfort. We wonder if we're being too sensitive. One part of us wants to remain compassionate. Another part is quietly asking for relief. Up to this point, everything I've described might feel deeply personal, almost like a personality trait. But this isn't just an INFJ pattern. What's happening during the INFJ door slam follows the same psychological processes researchers see in emotional burnout and empathy fatigue. And once you understand that, the door slam stops feeling mysterious and starts making sense. To understand this better, it helps to step back from personality language for a moment. Because when psychologists study emotional exhaustion, especially in highly empathetic people, they describe something very similar. Burnout doesn't come from one overwhelming event. It develops gradually when emotional demands consistently exceed the nervous system's capacity to recover. Highly empathetic people are especially vulnerable when they remain emotionally engaged without enough protection or rest. Not withdrawal as punishment, but withdrawal as regulation. Many INFJs delay expressing their needs, not because they don't have them, but because they value harmony. Over time, this creates internal strain. On the outside, everything can look calm, but internally, stress is accumulating. This is where the erosion happens. Not from conflict, but from endurance. We stay longer than we should. We try harder than we should. And eventually, something gives. When the door slam finally happens, it's usually calm on the outside. Internally, it feels like a shift into self-protection. The nervous system disengages, not because it doesn't care, but because continued engagement has become unsustainable. This isn't indifference, it's containment. The mind saying very quietly, "This is no longer safe for me." After the door slam, many INFJs feel relief. And then, grief. Relief because the emotional strain has stopped. Grief because something meaningful has ended. Even necessary boundaries can bring sadness, guilt, and doubt. Many INFJs mourn quietly. We replay what could have been. We wonder if we waited too long or closed too fully. Sometimes there is numbness, not permanent, just enough distance to allow recovery. From the outside, the door slam can feel confusing or painful, and that matters. Most INFJs don't intend to hurt, but impact exists, even without intention. Understanding this allows space for empathy on both sides. If you've ever door slammed someone, you are not broken. You are a human being responding to prolonged emotional strain. The INFJ door slam isn't something to glorify, but it is something to understand. Sometimes it's a boundary. Sometimes it's a signal. Often, it's both. If this resonates, don't judge yourself. Just listen to what your inner world has been asking for, quietly, for a long time. There's no rush here, only awareness. Thank you for being here, a quiet place for deep minds.